Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at how to play the solo to Jimmy Page's self-professed favorite Led Zeppelin track, Achilles Last Stand, from the band's 1976 album, Presence. Now, though he has stated in the past that this is his favorite Led Zeppelin track, I don't know if he's ever said whether this is one of his favorite solos that he's ever done, but I'm just going to assume that. The solo to Achilles Last Stand certainly isn't one of Jimmy's more high-profile and well-known guitar solos, but make no mistake, it truly is one of his very greatest. Personally, were I to compile a top 5 or top 10 list of such, it would certainly be included, possibly even in the top 3, possibly be even number 1. It's not as melodically memorable as, say, the solo to Stairway to Heaven or Whole Lotta Love. It's more so one of those Page solos with a bit more of a loose and reckless Jimmy Page edge to it. Does not diminish this solo in any way, however, as far as I'm concerned. Jimmy could do both with equal finesse and authority. And today, I'm going to show you guys how to play this great classic Jimmy Page solo. So without further ado, let's close in here a little bit on the fretboard and have a look at this one. All right, Achilles Last Stand from Presence, and this one is in standard tuning, and we are working in the key of E minor, and we're working predominantly in the E natural minor scale. So I'm just going to show you that quickly here at the 12th fret position, position number 1. That is the E natural minor scale. 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 15, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14, 12, 13, 15, 12, 14, 15. We're also going to be working in this position here at the 7th fret. I don't know what position of the what box position you call that, but 7th fret starting on the A string, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10. And then pop up to the root note there. So I'm going to run through this solo at a fairly relaxed pace here, and then we'll dig into how to play it. Comes out of this. Just working double stops here, 7, 8, 9. Starting on the 9 and then going 7, 8, 9. And then moving it up to the 10s, so that little section there. All on the D and the G string. And then it leads into the solo. And that's pretty much the solo with the little outro of that little section there, which has a lot of flanger on and whatnot. So starts with this. He's letting some strings ring while others are, while others are still playing. It's got that very loose feel to it. Starting in this position at 7, hammering on 7, 9 of the D, and then grabbing the 7 of the G, and then string skipping down to the 7 of the high E. And then rolling up and letting both of those strings kind of ring together, rolling up to the 7 of the B. And then a double hit at 9 of the G. And then you're going to grab the 8 of the B string, give it a full step bend release. And then you're going to skip down to the 7 of the G and do the exact same thing. And then you're going to grab these 2 notes, kind of a double stop, and I think he's actually plucking these with his middle fingers on the 5th fret of the G and the B, and he's going to do that twice. And then give it a good shake. Now this next section is quite chaotic, and strings are playing over other strings, and but this is kind of what he's doing. That's the first half of it. So he's sliding into 5 of the G and grabbing the 3 of the high E. And he's going from the down to the E, back up to the G, and then he's getting his pinky on 5, and then going back and forth between the G and the high E with his pinky on 5. So he does that twice, and it's lots of dissonance going on here because a lot of these notes kind of clash. From the top. And then he's going to do this. So a little starting on 3 of the high E, little trill, 3 to 5, up to 5 of the B, and then that little chord there, he's dropping onto the 4 of the G while he still has his index down here on 3 of the high E, and he's muting the B string with the tip of his index finger, so you're only hearing the 2 notes. The G string on the 4th fret and the high E on the 3rd fret. Kind of like that. And then he's going to he's going to leave in that position. He's going to grab that 4th fret of the G, down to the high E at the 3rd fret, and then back to the 4 of the G. And then another little trill, slow trill, 3 to 5 of the high E, and then up to 5. So. Kind of like that. And then he's going to do that one more time. One more little slow trill between 3 and 5, back up to the 5 of the B again. And this time he's going to upstroke and catch the 4 of the G. So like I said, this whole little section is a little bit chaotic. Like that. And then a quick little hammer on from 3 back onto 5, and he lets it ring out. Kind of like that. And then quick hammer on onto 5. So that whole section at a nice slow pace, because like I said, this whole section is very chaotic and a lot of strings playing over other strings. So that is that section, and I'm going to go through that one more time. So from the top up to that point. And then we're back into this. This time we're not doing a hammer-on, we're sliding into 9 of the D, and then going down to 7 of the G, and then string skipping down to the 7 of the high E, and then back up again to the B string on the 7th fret. And then back onto the 9 of the G for a double hit. And then we're into this. 7, 8, 10. Back onto the 8 of the B. Hammer on to 10 and then pull it off all in one motion back to 8 and back to 7. And then we're into this. So it's just 8, 7, 8, 7. Or sorry, 8, 7, 8. And then you're going to grab the 10th fret of the high E and give that a full step bend. And then we're into this. So now we're on the 12th fret. So we're going 12 of the B down to 12 of the high E onto 14 for a for a half step bend. Little double half step bend releases off to 12. And then one final little 12 to 14. Release back off to 12. On to 15, full step bend. Release that bend off to 13, sorry, of the B. And then into this. Very staccato. 12, 13 of the B. Up to 14 of the G, back to 12 of the B. Roll up to 12 of the G. Onto a double hit at 14 of the D. And that's the first half of the solo. So let's get us up to that point from the very beginning. Lots of dissonance. And then we're into this. Just on the 12s and 14s of the D and the G. Going 14 of the D down to 12 onto 14 of the G. And then a little double pump, double full step pump. Off to 12 and then back up to 14. And then we're into this. Well, we're just going to do this quick little thing. 14 of the D, 12 to 14 of the G. And then into this. And remember, we're in the natural minor scale here. all here on the 12, 13, 15 of the B and the 14 of the G. Playing that little lick there. Slowly. From the beginning. All right, and then we're into this. Right on the natural minor scale on the B and the E string. 12, 13, 15. 12, 14, 15, and then pulling it off, 15 back to 14, back to 12. And then hammering back on to 14. And then we're into this. Starting on 15 of the B, down to 12 of the high E. 15, 13, 12 of the B. Pulling that off, actually, 13 to 12. And that little lovely little lick there. Doing a little roll there on the 14s. And then finishing on 14 of the D. One more time. So up to that point from the second half. One more time. And then we're into this. Sliding into 16. Now we're blue note work here. Oh no, it's not. Blue note's right there. Sliding into 16 of the G string and then riding down the 15s of the B and the high E. On to 17 of the B. And then just back and forth. Back to the 15 of the high E and back to the 17 of the B. And then you're going to grab the 17 of the high E and give it a full step bend. And then release it and pick it once at the natural note at 17. And then 17 of the B twice. Now skip back to 15 of the high E. Give that a little full step bend release. And then a little pull off from 15 to 14 to 12 back onto 14. And then a little trill between 12 and 14 back to 12. And then finish it up on 15 of the B. So from the beginning there of the second half. And then we're into this. 15 to 13 of the B and then up to 14 of the G. Back back down to 13 of the B and slide it back to 12. And then we're into this. So we're riding down the 12s of the G and the B, onto 15 of the B, and then right down the scale, 12, and then on to 14 of the high E. And then another pull off from 15 to 14 to 12 of the high E, and then back on to 14. Kind of like that. And then we're going to do this little ascending right up the scale coming out of this. When we land on that 14 there of the high E, we're right into this. Just right up the scale. Finishing up on 20 of the high E with a full step bend. And then right into this. Just reverse it, 20, 19, 17, and then back on to 19. And then you're going to move back here to the 15s and 17s. 17, full step bend, off to 15, back onto 17, another full step bend. And then you're going to do that twice. Bending 17, releasing it back to the natural note, and then off to 15, and do that twice. And then the second time, you're going to grab that 15 and slide it back to 14. So let's get us up to that point from the middle of the solo. And that leads us into this little trill there between 14, 15, catching the 17 of the B, and then finishing back off on the 14 of the high E. And then you're going to shift back to the 12, and then you're going to go 12, 14, 15, slide up to 17, quickly slide back to 15. And then another little pull off from 15 to 14 to 12 and back onto 14. And then we're into this, we're finishing up here. 14 of the G. And then a pull off from 13 to 12. Back up to 14 of the G. Up back to 12 of the G, up to 14 of the D, and then back to 12 of the G. And that's pretty much the end of the solo. And then he does a kind of slides into 14 of the D. Just before moving into that ascending kind of spider crawly type thing he does there. Sliding into 14 and then catching kind of like a little double stop down the G and the B string at the 12th fret. So from the second half, let's just run through that at a nice relaxed pace here. And then we're into the... And while he's playing those in harmony, the second half, he's playing that along with this. So I'm just going to show you what that is. That's 2 of the A up to 3 of the low E, and then 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 8, up to 9 to 10. And he's going to move it down to the A and the D string. Now we're going 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 10, and then 10 to 12, and then 12 to 14. And then you've one final lead line. And that's just kind of right up the pentatonic, started with a full step bend at 17, releasing it off to 15 of the high E, and then 17 to 15 of the B, 16, 14 of the G, and then just the octave of that. Slide it back to 10, slide back into 14, and then 12, 14 of the D, and that is the end of the solo. And that, my friends, is how you play the guitar solo by Jimmy Page to Achilles' Last Stand. Good luck with it. Have fun with it. It's a great dynamite solo. And anyway, thanks for watching. I hope that helped you out where you're looking to learn this great classic Jimmy Page solo. Drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that. That would be awfully nice. And hit the little notification bell so you know when I upload something new. And you guys take care of yourselves and those around you. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.